Australia is considered to be one of the most urbanised countries in the world. Over 80% of the population resident live in the capital cities or other urban areas. The high rate of urbanisation means that many of the cities are facing enormous pressure to keep up with the needs of the growing populations. As more space is required for the construction of new houses and the development of industry, the more the natural environment suffers. When ecosystems are disrupted and the habitats are destroyed, urban growth leads to an even greater reduction in the biodiversity of areas surrounding the cities. Each year, Australia clears land at a massive rate of over 500,000 hectares to make way for agricultural and urban development. A professor from the University of Western Sydney, Dr. Hadley, has proposed a new idea to give animals property rights. Under his proposal, particular animals would be given legal property rights and human guardians would be appointed to represent them in court.
Why do I think that we need to have property rights for these animals? Well, the answer is quite simple. That is, their habitat happens to be located on property, either the property of individuals, so private owners, the property of corporations, the property of the public, say in a national park or a wilderness area or such things, or indeed the property of the Crown, that is unowned land that is deemed by the law to be owned by the Queen. Any initiative that seeks to regulate what happens to habitat has to use property concepts and the property law. So that's why my proposal has ended up attributing property rights to animals.
Farmers, on the other hand, do not see how giving animals property rights would fix the problem of biodiversity. They are concerned about the conflict that the proposal would cause. It is difficult for them to understand how the law would achieve anything. They argue that it is simply a waste of money and time. Even Quatermain from the Human Society explains why the farmers have opposed the proposal.
The farmers that were voicing their opposition to the idea were jumping to a lot of conclusions, saying things like it would be affording animals the exact same rights as humans.
I'm not advocating that animals have the same rights of humans in a obviously trivial sense. I mean, humans have rights to vote, humans have rights to healthcare, humans have rights to an education and what have you. Nobody is saying that you give creatures some rights, they have to have all rights. Animal rights is not that kind of, is not committed to that kind of rights framework. Rather, it is about extending rights that it is logically coherent to give to particular creatures.
Australia is one of the only 17 countries recognised as being mega-diverse, but yet it still has one of the highest extinction rates. In the past 200 years, around 126 species of plants and animals have been sent to extinction.
Habitat destruction is the leading cause of biodiversity loss in Australia and around the world. We have 1,700 species at risk of extinction in Australia. 81% of these are due to habitat loss. 350 of these species are non-plant species, so mammals, birds, reptiles and the like.
Land clearing is even a problem to one of Australia's most loved animals, koalas. It is important to understand the relationship between the koala and its environment. When the habitat is cleared to make way for new roads, housing estates or farms, it is an extremely disorienting and stressful experience for them. Even if they manage to survive the clearing, finding a new home is difficult enough, but they also face dangers like being hit by cars or attacked by dogs. Each year, cars and dogs kill over 4,000 koalas. If Hadley's proposal comes into law, this would mean that the species such as koalas would be protected by their guardians.
So guardianship is when a person administers the property on behalf of an individual who is mentally incompetent in some way. They're unable to manage their affairs themselves. So the classic example is like a young child or a person with dementia. I'm interested in extending this idea to populations of animals, endangered species at risk of extinction due to habitat destruction.
But if any landholder wants to clear a certain bit of habitat, when we know that there are animals there, it's only going to be beneficial for them to get in touch with someone. It might provide a bit more education.
The existing system has no direct representative for animals. So there is nobody who is explicitly charged with defending their interests in cases of habitat loss during land management. So, in effect, the existing policy system, which is property-based and law-based, views animals as, or views habitat as terra nullius. Right? Terra nullius in the sense that there is no interest holder in the habitat. Habitat which is viewed as empty vegetation, if you like. So the guardianship system serves to populate the vegetation.